Well, just because I'm here in India, and in fact here in India to visit an outsourcing company, I think it's probably worth a note on the idea of outsourcing programming. Particularly, I want to address the statement that I've heard people make, that it's no longer useful or no longer a good thing as a US-based person to go into programming because all the programming is now being done in India and China. There is some truth to that statement, but there's also some falsity to that statement. So the truth is that programming used to be pretty much the province of the United States, North America, and Europe, let's say. That's where all the programming happened, and it happened by people who were trained in those regions, North America and Europe. What's true is that now it's a world economy. There's lots of smart people everywhere in the world, and there's lots of programming going on everywhere in the world. But that's not only true of programming, that's true of every profession in the world. If you're a North American or European-based person, you had a head start on the rest of the world. You had the ability to say, well, you know, there's a limited number of people who do this, so I can charge a premium for what I do. Well, now the rest of the world is waking up, the rest of the world is coming up to speed with technology, and the rest of the world has just as many smart, if not more smart people than there are in North America and Europe. And so, yes, you compete on a world market. That's the way it is. That's the way it is everywhere. It's not only in programming, it's in everywhere. There's a world market, and there are smart people everywhere, and you're competing with all, whatever it is, 6 billion of us now. So there's the truth of it. The truth of it is no easy ride. Used to be able to say, just because I'm, you know, in the U.S. and I have studied programming a little bit, that I'll be able to have a high-paying job for the rest of my life. It ain't that way anymore. And here's the other side of the coin. In any field, in any discipline, and programming is no different than that, there is the rank and file people who know how to do it, and then there are people who are really valued at doing it. And whether you live in India, whether you live in China, whether you live in the United States, whether you live in France, the situation is the same. Low level, not low level, I've used low level in a different way, unskilled or low skilled programmers who simply can say, who can do well, here's the way to think about it. Suppose you were a translator, right, and you were the only one who spoke Punjabi, and you were in a room full of people who needed something translated into Punjabi, and you spoke Punjabi and you also spoke English, so they speak English, you can translate it into Punjabi. That's one level of skill. It simply means I speak Punjabi, I speak English. Similarly, you can say, well, I speak Java and I speak English, so I can translate. If you tell me exactly what it is you want to do in English, I can do it in JavaScript. That's translating, right? And there's lots of people who can do that. Lots of people who speak Java and English at the same time. Now, suppose instead of putting me in a room with English speakers who simply need me to translate it into Punjabi, I want you to write me a good book in Punjabi. I want you to write a Punjabi novel that's really, you know, awesome and is going to sell a lot in the Punjab. Okay, that's a totally different skill. Yes, I have to speak Punjabi, and can't do it if I don't speak Punjabi. But I have to be creative. I have to be at the top of my field. That's not just speaking Punjabi. That's understanding the structure of the novel. That's being creative, coming up with a really good story. That's being a good writer, being able to put things together in just the right way to make that novel work. Similarly, I can say, I just speak JavaScript. And if you tell me exactly what you want to do in English, I can translate into JavaScript. That's a commodity. There's a lot of people who can do that. But if you say, write me a really good web application in JavaScript that, for example, I don't know, replaces the telephone. I want to do away with telephones entirely. That's a concept. Now, in order to do that, I need to know a lot. I need to be much more than simply just someone who knows JavaScript. So the world is full of the translator type people. The world is full of the people who can say, if you tell me very strictly in English how to do it, I can do that for you in JavaScript. It will always, 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 always be valuable for you to be one of the people who can go beyond that. Yes, I know JavaScript, but I can also construct a really good application. You just tell me what you want it to do, and I'll make it happen. You don't have to be explicit about it. You can be very general about it, and I'll make it happen for you, because not only do I know JavaScript, but I'm also very creative, and I also understand all the different mechanics. I can also, very importantly, translate your vague ideas about what you want this thing to do. You said it replaces the telephone. Well, we got a long way to go before I write my first line of JavaScript, right? The long way to go before I write my first line of JavaScript is what makes me a really good programmer, and whether I was born in Asia, Africa, Europe, North America, South America, doesn't matter. If I'm good at that, I'll always have a good job. So if you're afraid of outsourcing and you're afraid of outsourcing in general, what you should be afraid of is that you're not a highly functioning person in your discipline. Not that there's a world of people out there, because the world of people out there are mostly, no matter where they're from, are mostly going to be those translator type people.